Now, the really cool thing about this is this was a happy accident, is we designed the magnet, this rare earth magnet, to hold it into your pocket, give you that nice satisfying snap feeling as you're deploying this thing. But if you're using steel tips, the magnet actually grabs the tips of the arrow and it won't come out, right?
I didn't think about that. That's cool.
So your arrow, so when you slide it down, and it's really cool, you could probably even hear this because I'm running like actual steel tips. As I drop this thing down, listen to this thing grab it. You hear that thing go whoop. That's the arrow tip getting close to the magnet, and it just sucks it down and grabs it. Now I can put 5-6 arrows in here and flip it over, and that magnet is strong enough. It holds and grabs all those tips. If you're using super high quality stainless steel tips, the magnet won't grab the tips, but you don't need it. It was just a happy accident.
What's up, and welcome back to the channel. I really appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully you have a great day today and you enjoyed this episode with my buddy that started the Push Archery. Oh, that magnet is so strong it picked up my knife. But we've got here the Delta back pocket quiver. This thing is really what got me interested in the Push Archery. Then I learned even more. If you're interested in trad archery, you're going to want to stay tuned to this and get to know Matt a little bit more, just because in all reality he is all about trad archery, but this really does apply to the compound archer like myself, hunting, just wanting to shoot in your garage, wanting to take it out to local events and not have a big pack on your hip, but instead a small back pocket here that's got, you know, you've got plenty of room for your snacks, a pen, a knife if you really need a knife, and slide your arrows right in here. So you guys have seen my review on this. Now we're going to talk with the owner of the Push Archery today. Really excited about that. Before we get into that, guys, just a couple things real quick. Don't forget to drop in the description down below. Get entered in to win the LEUPOLD Spotter 65mm giveaway. No purchase necessary. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel and get entered. And that's it, using the link down below. Again, no purchase necessary for that. I just want to get back to you guys once we hit 6,000 subscribers, which is coming up here pretty soon, and I really appreciate the growth that you're helping out here. Also, through the end of March, we've got the BlackOvis giveaway, which is 6 gift cards to BlackOvis that will be given away. All you have to do is go over to BlackOvis, use code RedBeard, save some money over there, and get entered in to win. And then last but not least, through the end of March as well, we have the Ollin giveaway that you can win a trip to go hunt on, I was going to say Maui, but in Hawaii with the Ollin crew. I'm jealous of that, to be honest with you guys. Really excited for the winner of that one, so you can go out and hunt axis deer with the Ollin crew, which they're all really great individuals. So check all of that out down below, guys. Really appreciate your support as we continue to grow here. Now let's get into the conversation here with Matt from the Push Archery. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Red Beard Outdoors podcast. I'm Jonathan, your host, and today we've got an outstanding guest here. We've got Matt, and I forgot to ask you how to pronounce your last name.
Zirnsak.
Hold on. Oh,
sorry, you're
going to
try
it.
Sorry.
Zirnsak.
You got it. That's it.
Okay,
That's
perfect. I'm just going to call you Matt Z.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so we got Matt here from Push Archery, or the Push Archery.
Yep.
And you guys have seen me talk about his quivers. Absolutely enjoy them a ton. And the biggest one here is this. It's the Delta, right? Is what this one's called?
It's our brand
Delta
new one.
pack. So the little pocket quiver here. We're going to go over my stupidity on some of the things that I talked about, not knowing what they were for, what I use them for. And that's kind of what you guys tune in for. My gear reviews is how I do it. I'm not an expert, why I like things and why I use them. But anyway, with Matt being here, we're going to get into who Matt is, how long the Push Archery has been around, because I just found out it's been around a lot longer than the last couple years, and why he's into trad archery, which is probably why I didn't know you were around for so long. And how we're going to get some cams on his bows. So before we get before we get into all of that, Matt, who are you?
Matt Zirnsak from the Push Archery. I'm a Pennsylvania bow hunter, essentially, first and foremost. Father of 5 boys from ages 16 down to 5. We have a pretty fun, wild household here. And been owner and operator of the Push Archery since 2016.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you just told me why you're into trad archery. you're in Pennsylvania,
Yeah,
and
there you go.
everyone else shoots a cammed bow. So
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
perfect. Now we got that out of the way. No, but really, so how long have you been into archery, Matt? And then how long has the push archery been around for?
Yeah, good question. So basically, I was your standard weekend rifle hunter whenever rifle season would come around. But my true passion was in small game hunting with all my buddies. We kind of cut our teeth on freedom in an old beat up 1980s minivan. We drive around and jump shoot rabbits all the time. And my buddies were into archery a little bit. And they would go over to this local bow club on Tuesday nights and hang out and pack their backpack full of 6 beers and walk around this outdoor 24 target course. And that's how they spent their Tuesday nights in the summertime when we were off of, college and stuff in the summertime break. And my fiance, my now wife at the time, it was about February and summer league was just kicking off. And I'm like, gosh, and her brother and her cousin are my best friends. And I'm like, gosh, the boys are going over and hanging out and partying over at the bow club, but I didn't shoot archery. And so honestly, my first entrance into archery was just simply to hang out with my buddies. It wasn't to extend my hunting season or anything like that. But there's a catch here. My buddies were using, like, this is back in 2007, 2006 timeframe. And my buddies were using these 1980s Hoyts that they never waxed the strings. They never did any maintenance. They never restrung them. So anytime I was at the family farm and these bows came out, and I wasn't an archer, so like bows, I was just exposed to whatever they were doing. Shit was flying off these bows every time I was out there. Like cams were blowing up and stuff. And I'm like, this is archery? Like, this is freaking dangerous, right? And so
hilarious.
that's how I was just introduced to archery. And I was like, compounds aren't for me. Clearly there's stuff flying off these things. And so I kind of mentioned to my wife in February of a year that I thought recurves were kind of cool. I want to get into archery. And that following Christmas, I opened up a recurve, and it's been that ever since. I've been just absolutely enthralled with the challenge of shooting these beautiful weapons.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I was going to play on words there. You knew they were serious because they were shooting Hoyt, right?
Yeah, there you go.
But in reality, that's hilarious that,
yeah,
they had it for that long. And again, no waxing the strings, just kind of shooting bows. And now everyone's into the whole, you got to have a new bow every year.
That's right. That's right.
It's like the iPhones, you got to have a new iPhone every year. And, but that's awesome. So you got into it that way. And then, so you started shooting compound bows.
Nope, never.
Just
I've never owned one.
Wow.
Nope. Yeah, she got me a recurve. I kind of told her that I was interested in archery. I wanted to go to the bow club and hang out with my buddies on Tuesday nights, and I was exposed to these compounds that were blowing up. And I'm like, I think recurves are kind of cool. They look and feel safer from my perspective. And and then that was it. Our recurve showed up on Christmas morning, and I was, man, cranking, dude. And like, I guess my origin story can go a little bit deeper than that, because why I have such a passion for learning. So the Push Archery is the largest traditional archery platform for instruction. So fast forward to 2025, we have a YouTube channel that has over 300 videos on it, a podcast over 300 episodes, and we have an online school where I travel around to subject matter experts and coaches around the country, and I help them put their storyboard and lesson plan together. I film it, we bring it back, we edit it, we build out these online courses, and then we offer them for sale. One-time payment, lifetime access to the course content, and then any additional additions to the course content as we go on. These coaches are continually getting better at doing what they do, learning new things. When we update those modules, your profile automatically updates with the new modules. So that's kind of like the end game, but it didn't start there. My passion for the instruction and learning is, I received that bow in Christmas. I had no mentors. There was nothing. And back at that time, there were no big YouTube channels. There were no big podcasts. The barrier to getting good information lied within paying $30 for a DVD, which I eventually ended up doing. But at the time, I didn't know where those resources and who were the subject matter experts. And so I was just like learning by trial and error for that entire year until that fall. And that fall came, and I was so amped up. I mean, I shot the limbs off this bow for that year getting ready. And my first 2 archery seasons here in Pennsylvania, I ended up missing 11 deer, and I killed my 12th. Like, it was a train wreck. And I didn't wound any. It was just, I was missing high on every single animal, blacking out. It was awful and atrocious, but I had no mentors. And that really frustrated me, and that really lit a fire under me. Like, there has to be a better way to do this. And then what I did was I started going indoor and shooting target spots 40 centimeters at 20 yards, like the normal Vegas face. And I started getting into target archery. And I remember standing there on the line one time, and there's this guy down the line, and he's shooting a bow that's very different than me. Like, I'm shooting a bow that looks like this behind me, bow quiver. It's 50 pounds. I'm kind of hunching over. I'm shooting my hunting shot. And there's this guy, and he's shooting a bow that looks like this one over here. That's on the edge, right? And he's shooting a big bear bow, a 25-inch metal riser, 72-inch long limbs, like total bow length. And he is just standing tall like a man, and he's just breaking these like beautiful shots, and he is pounding the gold, pounding. I'm like, what the heck? How is he doing that? So every week I was like a couple of lanes closer to him, right? Until the point where I'm like, hey, man, how are you doing what you do? And then down the rabbit hole I went. I got obsessed with competitive archery, shooting IBOs, shooting indoor, going to like tournaments like Lancaster. And I started applying how some of the best non-sighted single string archers in the world, which I was rubbing elbows with on the competition line, how they're doing what they're doing. And I took that and repackaged it, and I took those lessons learned into the woods. And from then my effectivity and my lethality just, I mean, skyrocketed. And after that, man, I just started filling tags left and right and became obsessed with it. And then one of my buddies from college, he wanted me to take him under his wing. And at this point I had 20, 25 guys that I've taken under my wing because I started getting successful. So all my buddies that were shooting those old Hoyts were going, hey, this looks fun. You're doing good. Like, let's do this. So I kind of put them through like this little mini program I put together on how to get them hitting what they needed to hit really quickly. And so my buddy came to me. I took him under my wing, and he's like, hey, you should write a book or do something, put this out there so people can see it. And I'm like, I'm not writing a book, but you're really good at cinematography. I'm good at this, the craft. Let's just put a YouTube video together. And we put together a soup to nuts 2-hour long how to do traditional archery. So it's basically, we go over every type of bow, every type of shooting method, arrows, all that stuff. And it kind of went viral as viral could go in such a niche community as traditional archery. It's about to hit 2 million views right now, which is insane. Wow. I still can't believe that. But that was the start of the push archery. And we launched that video in 2016. And one video turned into 7, turned into 300. And we started a podcast and an online school. And here I am talking to you now, which is like really awesome.
Yeah, no, that is really cool. I definitely, eventually I'll get into trad bow. I got to figure out my compound stuff first. I'm going the other way.
Right.
But eventually, yeah, I would love, I'd love to get into that because it is such a cool, just being able to go back to that traditional the roots of archery, and even the target bows. Watching the arrow flight, you don't really get that with, at least I try and get a pretty zippy arrow. You don't get that. It's more fun to, it's more fun to watch a slow-mo video. I love taking slow-mo 80 to 100 yard shots and just watching the arrow flight. And there's something about that. I know Joel Turner talks about that too, just the mystical flight of the arrow.
For sure. There's something about, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's something about sport, right? The most entertaining moments in sports are when there is something in flight that is going slow enough to where your brain can calculate and estimate that might be on target. And so that's all like a 3-pointer. Like a 3-pointer is so beautiful because that ball is arcing, and as a spectator, you can go, like, I think that's on pace, or like kicking a field goal in football. It's all like these trajectory flight objects that are
beautiful
slow,
curved
that's
corner shot.
Yep, and your brain can predict it, right, where it's going. And that's what traditional archery is. Like anything under 180 feet per second, man, you can track that arrow. Your brain can catch it and then predict it's might hit. It's going to be close, and you have this like momentary anticipation as it's like approaching the target. It's like there's nothing better than that, man.
Yeah, there's nothing like it. I had there's a video, and I'm gonna do some more when I'm sighting in my bows this year. Now that I'm getting better at actually capturing video and have a good camera. But I took a video last year of, sometimes I like to go, I'm not actually sighting in at this point when it's super windy. Don't sight in when it's windy. It's just going to frustrate the heck out of you. But, I like to see how my arrows react to wind. So I was shooting in this area. It was about 80 yards. The wind gust, I don't even know. I mean, it wasn't 50, but it was, you know, it was probably a good 20 miles an hour plus. And pretty windy day. I'm in this kind of wind tunnel where there's two buildings on either side of me blocking the wind. But as my arrow's going and it hits the end of the buildings, you can watch my arrow literally turn almost 90 degrees and then catch itself again, recorrect, and
Yeah.
it landed where I was aiming. And I'm sitting there like, all right, that's my vein configuration this year. Like,
Yeah,
you
right.
know, I put it through its
Perfection,
paces.
right? That's
Yeah,
exactly what you want.
That it worked. It did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Plus, it also, you know, with the everyone talks about FOC, you can go to the extremes of super light or super heavy. That's your thing. But I usually fall with my builds are usually between 16 to 18%, and it's pretty. I'd say middle of the ground, if not a little bit heavy for some people. But I feel like that mixture with a good vein setup, go and test that in the wind or some other things that are going to mess you up or mess up the arrow flight. And I feel like the mix of those two in that particular scenario, just, I mean, it was golden.
It was bomber.
So that's just stuff that, you know, once you've got your bow sighted in, again, don't go sight your bow in when it's windy, rainy, snowing, none of that. That's when you can get the cool, fun footage.
For sure.
When it's windy, rainy, snowy, you know, you get the arrow flight. That's the other thing too, is when you watch an arrow spinning and the water's coming off of it, or the water that comes off the bowstring.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, that's the best when the bow comes back to brace and it's like all that water. That's so good. That's so
exactly. Good. There was one shot, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember his name, but it was the Seek One guys.
Oh, okay,
the main guy for Seek One. He was out sitting in this rainstorm. He was like 20 yards from this buck, but the buck was bedded, super tall grass, and he was just waiting for the buck to stand up. Dealt with this drenching, pouring rain, and his camera guy just got it picture perfect. The buck stands up broadside, and he, you know, gets on his knees, and the buck kind of looks back at him, and I mean, he had no chance, and he pinwheeled him. But it was just cool to watch because the bow had been sitting there in the soaking wet rain, just all of that, and then the amazing kill shot. The buck, I think he did this little loop and ended up dying.
Died right there, right?
Yeah,
that's probably my favorite video that they put out. I think is awesome.
Exactly. So, you know, anyway, if you guys have that ability, it's a lot of fun. Go out and video yourself shooting a bow at long distance. It's a lot of fun. But with that, now that we're all nerded out and about that, let's get back into a couple things here. So you started with instruction, and then, you know, YouTube, then you built out these quivers, right? With the push. So talk to us, because this one's more of the newer one, right? The Delta's kind of the newer.
Delta's the newest one.
Okay. So then let's talk about this quiver. I took the belt off of it just so I could, you know, manipulate it a little bit better. But the belt is it's actually really stiff. I was surprised. You got a very stiff belt. So since I brought that up, why do you have such a stiff belt on this instead of something that hangs or dangles like a lot of other ones do?
Perfect. So this is the Alpha Pack. This is our very first quiver product that we came out with. And the reason why the belt is so stiff, we actually had a Gen 1 belt that was real thin and it would buckle under the load. Now with the Alpha Pack, you can see this main storage compartment can like expand. And gosh, I mean, if you have the space, you're going to fill it. And these things can get pretty heavy. I mean, I know my target, my competitive Alpha Pack, I mean, it feels like it's 15 pounds. So we wanted to like design like a service style belt that the weight's not going to affect it whatsoever.
I mean, it really is something that you could EDC with if you guys are into that, you know, where you carry a pistol and a couple other things on your belt. It 100%. Is that stiff, just for people that are kind of looking for a range of reference. Yeah,
you can stick it like a fully loaded Alpha Pack, like 10 pounds worth of stuff in here. You could slide the belt through, and the belt actually has a double woven section that's about, you know, 14 inches long. And that's where you want to have the belt hanging is off, or the Alpha Pack hanging is off that stiffened section. And you can hold it from the side here like a cantilever beam, and it'll just sit there and hold its weight without buckling or bending. It's super stiff. So we want to design the belt to be just, you don't have to worry about it. It has some Velcro adjustability, so you don't have to unbuckle it to adjust it while it's on your waist. You just peel the Velcro, retighten it on your waist, and then you don't even know you're carrying the weight. It just holds it so well, distributes it across your waist really nicely. So that was the intention behind the design of the belt.
Sweet. So then let's start. And these are my murdered out target arrows.
Those look sweet. Are those VTACs?
So VTAC 25s is kind of.
I use VTAC 23s on my comp rig as well on my barrel.
Yeah. So I might end up with some 23s eventually, but I started with 25s. I want to punch a little bit bigger holes there with the 40s, the A hybrid 40s.
Yeah, those are sweet.
anyway, so and I've already broken a couple nocks just trying to get my groups, and I had to pull them off. That's, guys that don't know, pin nocks are awesome for that. They'll keep your
Oh yeah,
arrow
100%.
protected. Yeah. So anyway, with this pack, let's start from the top there.
Okay.
Brief interruption here, guys. I just want to let you know of something that BlackOvis has that's fantastic, and you can get custom built arrows for you, your draw length, your cut length, everything that you need, built however you want. And using code RedBeard over at BlackOvis, you're going to save some money. So let's talk about this arrow ID right here from BlackOvis. This showed up today. Awesome looking box. But I want to show you guys what I have in here because I'm going to be tinkering with some arrows. And so I'm going to be doing a glue-in system again with the Evolution system. But I changed up a little bit as far as the arrows go. So I'm gonna pull one of these out here for you guys so you can see what I've got going. All you have to do is go over to BlackOvis. When you go over to BlackOvis, you're gonna go to Arrow ID, which is on the main page. And you're gonna go as long as you know the cut length of your arrows. This for me personally is something that if you've already had your arrows built, maybe by a shop or by yourself, you don't wanna go through the hassle of having to build your own arrows again. You want someone else to take care of it for you. And like I said, you get it at a discount with code RedBeard. Go over to BlackOvis Arrow ID. I put in the VAP TKO 300 spine, put in the cut length, which they measure from the throat of the nock to the end of your arrow, end of the carbon. And then you pick your fletchings. These are going to be the AirRazor Pros, super lightweight. I did in a 4-fletch with a 3-degree helical or offset right there. I'm going to mess around with those. And I did it to the left, which is different than other arrows that I've done before, simply because it's already spinning to the left. Why not just give your arrow what the string's putting into it already? There you go, guys. Go check out Arrow ID over at BlackOvis. These things look fantastic. They do come with field points, so I did get some field points there. You can order field points, and you can have them go ahead and install your inserts if you'd like. Mine came with them separate because, like I said, I'm going to be building my arrows with the Evolution glue-in system. Go check out Arrow ID, guys. Use code RedBeard to save some money. Get your arrows built, especially if you don't have a shop near you that can take care of you, or you need a restock, or you need some tack arrows. Total Archery Challenge. Get them over there at BlackOvis. Save some money. Have a great one, guys. Now let's get back to the episode. Where the belt slides in. So this is a loop.
That's right.
Belt slides in there. And then you've got this little zipper thing here. Is this just for tools, extra storage?
tool stuff. You know, I actually, so it's funny, I guess we should start with the development of the Alpha Pack. Is it actually started as a hunting pack. One thing that I'm a minimalist when it comes to bow hunting. I want to carry my recurve in my hand. I want to have my lightweight hang-on tree stand on my backpack, and that's it. And I film all my hunts and stuff, so I have to carry camera gear.
Do you saddle hunt?
No.
Does that not work with trad bow?
I mean, it does. I know there's a lot of guys out there doing it, but I have a little bit of I have strong opinions about saddle hunting as it relates to.
I like this. Okay. I like some opinions. We might have to get into that.
Yeah, we could get into that for sure.
I do know that I prefer. So a lot of people talk about longer bows versus shorter bows, their benefits and whatnot. I personally like the 30-inch to 33-inch is a good range for me. I do notice a little bit more stability with a 33-inch compound, but with a saddle, and you have those two ropes that are coming up this way. That's the one thing I feel like a lot of people don't talk about with the length. Like, I don't mind a big tree or a big bow in the tree or in a stand or wherever.
Yep.
It's that angle that's going to cut me off when I'm at full draw.
That's right.
And so that's why I prefer the shorter bows, because I get a little bit steeper angle when I'm in the saddle. So I'm not bumping anything. And even then I had I was culling some does, and I did this like funky, like super lean back and like, you know, and it was still kind of hitting my jacket, my winter jacket there. So anyway, going back to the minimalist.
Yeah.
So
I want to walk in the woods with everything I need to capture this hunt on film. And then that's it. So this alpha pack was actually originally designed just to be a minimalist hunting pack. I was ordering drop leg pouches off of Amazon that were Chinese made pieces of crap that would only last me about one season roughly.
Okay.
So I wanted to design this thing with all the features that I wanted for a hunting pack. I wanted to design something that was always on your hip from the time you close your truck door to the time you get back to your truck. Never comes off, and it has all your essentials in it. So I designed every pocket around what a bow hunter would want in the woods. And then, to be honest with you, in the 11th hour of this development effort, I'm like, you know what? Let's add this extra pocket behind the main pouch and make it a quiver. And so the quiver was actually an afterthought, and we sell a ton of these, and we're known for our bomb-proof, 100% made and sewn here in America. Like, these things are absolutely bomb-proof. I've been hunting with my main one that goes on every scouting mission, every track job, hanging stands, every hunt, you name it. And it's been on my hip for 6 years now, and it's still just going strong, not a single issue in it. So I designed this thing with all these different pocket configurations for a bow hunter that wants his rangefinder, anything that he needs, his essentials, always on your hip. So when you're standing up in the tree stand, you're moving around, movements at a minimum. I hate the idea of having a pack hung on the tree behind me, and if you need something, you're just turning around. The one time that you go to turn around and grab something and you hear that foot stomp, that's it. Like, that was completely avoidable if you didn't have to like turn around and get your gear out of your pack. So I wanted everything to be right here on the hip. I guess I could just, you want me just to flow through some of these design features?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So the top pouch here, as I mentioned, this was a bow hunting pouch. I actually use this top pouch I fill this up with milkweed.
That'll fit right there.
Or a snack, right? Exactly. So
a little protein bar right in there.
You can put a protein bar. You can put your tab in here. It's a little small for a release to keep it in there. But honestly, what I use this for is I fill this thing up with milkweed. And when you close the zipper, the milkweed kind of pushes out through the zipper, and you can pull it out of the zipper, right? Which is
okay. So hold on, let's pause there for guys that don't know what milkweed is, because I didn't know what that was until 2 years ago. And
no
I had
kidding.
One of my buddy, the Coffee Viking, I don't know if you've seen his stuff, AJ Kaz, he brought milkweed. I was like, why are you pulling your, because he's got a long blonde beard. Like, why are you pulling your beard hair out to do the little thing? He's like, no, it's milkweed. I'm like, what? You brought weed on a hunt? What are you talking about? And he was like, this is something we do everywhere. When you bow hunt. I'm like, no, you pull out this bottle and you do a little poofy thing. Right. Like, that's what we do. So for people out west that don't know what milkweed is, it's a little fluffy. It really does look like blonde beard hair.
Yeah,
that you just kind of sprinkle. And so instead of doing your poofy thing, it tells you where the wind's going.
That's right. Yeah, it's the seeds of the milkweed plant that comes in these little pods. When I see them in the summertime, before they actually open up and bloom and start spreading their seeds, you want to pluck those things. And when you pluck them, there's a little drip of white liquid coming out, hence the milk in the milkweed. And then you pull those pods off, and I lay them out. I have a big 4x8 workbench, and roughly about July, it's completely covered every square inch with these milkweed pods. And then you let them dry out to the point where they start opening up on their own. And then I just put them in giant gallon Ziploc bags, and then I shove them in here. And it's
sounds
awesome.
Like a lot of work where you could go spend $2 on Amazon and get a little.
You could, but have you ever been sitting in the stand and the wind's in your face and a deer standing, what you think is upwind of you, and they catch you? I've had this happen before. The puffer bottles only tell you what the wind is doing in this 4-foot diameter circle. You throw a piece of milkweed out, it floats with the air currents, and I've seen it 1,000 times float, goes about 20 yards, drops down to the ground level, and turns 180 degrees, and then goes right back past you, right down the path where the deer are. And you're like, how the heck did they bust me? Well, you start learning what those thermals and what the wind is actually doing when you can watch these bits of milkweed just following the air currents. It's the best.
You might have just sold me on milkweed,
dude. It is by far, like, I will not walk in the woods without milkweed. I once I started using it, every puffer bottle just got thrown in the trash. I've never used it again. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
So milkweed in this top pouch. We'll save the quiver feature for a minute. We have these 2 straps up here that have these buckles. And these are nice for allowing you to just roll up your top layers if you want, and you could put them on top of that, strap it in. I like to always keep my rearward one. So I wear this
I was
on
going to
my.
ask you why these straps are, because these straps are super long.
They're super long just for that reason. So you can just roll up a top, something up there. I always keep, so I wear this on my right hip. And so I keep the rearward facing buckle closed the whole time to prevent this action from opening. Once you put your hand in there, it's not going to open. The cool thing about the pack when you're packing it, or if you're sitting on the ground and you want to set it up beside you, the pack opens up completely flat like this. And so I like to keep one of these buckles attached just to prevent this from happening in the field. But when we look on the inside of this pack, we have two netting style cylinder like storage compartments here. I like to use man, I should have grabbed my actual hunting one to show you how I actually have it set up. But we have these two cells here. I use a pair of like snips here, have a knife, flashlight, my bow toe rope up in here, super heavy duty elastic material. And then on this side, which would be the front panel, is a zipper compartment. So you could put your license in here, other tools, bits, whatever you want to put in there.
I'm just hearing more snacks.
Or more snacks. Or more snacks. And then the
energy drinks, protein bars.
That's right. And then the main enclosure, you can see how big this thing gets.
Yeah.
So this can stay on your hip. And then we have the leg strap here that goes around your thigh. And so now whenever you're moving around, this thing stays on your hip at all times. But now imagine you're sitting in your tree stand and your thigh is parallel to the ground. That's why we did this perimeter zipper, is you can take this top zipper and move it like this, and take the secondary zipper and move it up to the top. And now your enclosure's this way, and you can reach down in here while it's down on your hip to get anything you need. So we designed this thing to promote minimal movement to get into your essentials, whatever you need.
Again, anything you need, guys. More snacks.
More snacks.
That's all you need when you're sitting there waiting for deer.
That's right.
Get that. Don't do the little Debbie's, guys. Go get you some protein bars.
That's
Be healthy.
Be healthy. Be healthy.
Yeah.
This front pocket here is the rangefinder pouch. So we know rangefinders come out often. Sometimes you're stalking in. Sometimes this deer is coming in range. So we wanted something to be super quiet. So we have this brass component here that basically is a bungee keeper, and then you can silently get in and get your rangefinder.
The tightness is controlled by this down here, right?
That right there is actually completely separate than this bungee up here. They're not attached.
Okay.
So you'll just tighten this strap here to adjust how. Yep, exactly. And then this bottom one here is just used for miscellaneous stuff. I actually use mine for squirrel hunting a lot. So these work great for putting the heads of squirrels in. And so the squirrels dangle below the pack as you're collecting them. But also it just works. You could put extra layers of whatever you want.
Have you tried pulling a deer out with this?
I've not tried pulling a deer out with the bungee yet, but with my bomb-proof belt, there's no doubt it could handle the load.
There you go.
That's for sure. And then in the back behind here is like just behind the rangefinder pouch is actually a pocket. And so this fits a cell phone beautifully when you're using it as a quiver on the range, your scorecard. And then we have these bungee cells right here, these 3 bungee cells. And a lot of people are lining these up with pens like that for their scorecard, or those folding bow stands. They slide down into these beautifully. It uses 2 cells. It slides in back behind this rangefinder pocket. But again, this was a hunting pack first. And so this feature actually was not designed as a rangefinder, even though it's perfectly fitting a rangefinder, but it was designed for turkey calls, for slate calls. So you could put 2 or 3 slate calls in here. And then these bungees here are actually designed for your turkey strikers for those calls.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
So you can load these up with all your different
obviously
strikers.
trad archers don't need rangefinders, right? You guys shoot things at like 5 yards. So
I use rangefinder every time I'm in the woods. If you're good, you can reach out and touch them a little bit with these bows too.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so that's pretty much the outside features, and then we have the quiver feature that we added late in the game.
Hold on. Pause real quick. You brought up turkey hunting. I'm gonna clip this later, and so I need to make sure I mark this. I'm gonna ask you a very important question.
Okay.
Have you been elk hunting before? Brief interruption to the podcast. Just want to remind you that it's important to keep your electronics charged when you're out in the back country, when you're on the road, wherever it is that you may be, even if you're international, whatever, you need a reliable charging source. And whether that is a international charging block, which I'm telling you guys, we've traveled out of the country a couple times now, my wife and I, and the Dark Energy battery, or apologize, the Dark Energy plug-in, I don't know the name of it, guys, but it has all the different plugs for the various countries all in one block, along with multiple USB-C and USB-A plugs for you to be able to use. Go and check that out. It is a converter block, but you can also use it here in the US. Highly recommend that you go and check that out. Use code RedBeard to save some money. If you're just sticking here to the US and you need to charge your phone, we have the MagSafe Nano charger right here. This thing is a powerhouse for how small it is. I have the regular sized iPhone. Fits on there like a charm. You definitely want to check out the Nano. Or we have the Poseidon Pro battery pack. This thing is my trusted battery pack no matter where I'm going. I slip this into my backpack with a charger, and most of the time I get to share it with my wife or my kids, or if I need it and there's no charging available at an airport, when we're driving, whatever it may be, this thing is great. And again, normal size iPhone right here, very slim. So go check out Dark Energy, get my favorite battery pack, this one or the Nano or the charging block. Use code RedBeard, save some money, support the show. Now let's get back to the episode.
No, sir. Are you going to ask if turkey hunting was like elk hunting?
Yes.
Yeah, I have no
So
opinion.
you saved yourself from that question.
you
saved yourself from that question.
No opinion.
Yeah. Okay. When are you coming out to go elk hunting then?
I know I need to. I think next year I am, actually.
Okay.
Yep.
Sweet. You've been putting in for points?
I will be starting this year. Yep.
Ooh, man. Okay. What state?
I think Montana is where I'm going to be. I'm going to be
Montana's a little bit easy. Yeah, I was going to say, like, there's some states that just Point Creek sucks, even if you're a resident. So, yeah, that one. I think New Mexico is another one. Guys, don't take my advice on this. Go talk to Hunt and Full. They know what they're talking about.
There you go. Okay.
They'll even do a free consultation for you.
Oh, but sweet.
Yeah. So you should check in with them too. They
That's
actually
cool.
will manage your points and everything. But yeah, with Montana, I'm trying to remember it. That one's a little bit easier, more manageable to get into, especially for out of state guys.
Sweet.
So, and then Colorado is pretty much shot at this point for over the counter, which is unfortunate. But anyway, cool.
Yeah, I think it will take like 2 seasons, right, for Montana, I believe. Like if I put in this year and then the following year, I should be able to.
You have a potential to draw it, the first year, but yeah, usually 2 to 3 years for Montana.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. Okay, so when you do, we're gonna have to get you back on and ask you that question. When
all right, yeah, sounds good.
Because there's only one right answer.
What is the right answer? Are you gonna wait?
I'm not gonna tell you.
I'm guessing you're saying no, it's not.
Wrong. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's definitely.
I love turkey hunting because it's like hunting elk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can get famous talking like that.
That's great. I love it.
Famous for the wrong reasons. Right. But anyway, so with that, let's get into the quiver portion here.
Yep. So
that's what got me interested. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't do whitetail hunting very often. I'm actually hopefully going to make at least 1 to 2 trips every year now.
Cool.
Most of them are going to be culling trips, just because I have a ton of respect for people that go after big, mature whitetail bucks. Those things are insane with how smart they are.
Yep.
Even in my buddy's backyard, essentially, where we were culling these does, how smart they were to know that if he would, like, he could literally be, because I have a trail camera set up at his tree line with corn there. And they would be eating the corn while he was leaf blowing.
Yep.
Less than 100 yards away. The moment that leaf blower shut off, their heads were up.
That's right.
The moment he hit or broke that tree line or got even close to that tree line, they were gone.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
People think suburban deer hunting is easy, but I believe that they have calibrated their nose more than a wild deer, or not a wild deer, like a large tract of land deer, to where they know the difference between somebody raking leaves on the edge of their property versus somebody stepping 3 feet into the wood line. They're like, oh, this is weird. This scent should not be here. Yeah, it's amazing.
And they look up too. Mule deer and elk don't have a reason to look up.
That's right.
Like even when mountain lions are hunting them, they're on the ground. They don't pounce out of a tree, right? And so they don't think about that. But whitetails, they look up, and I'm like, why are you like? We had his tree stands are like double the height that I would go up for elk or anything like that with a saddle, just because they look up.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
It's crazy. It blows my mind.
Which is why you want minimal movement when you're up in these tree stands.
So going back to, I more than likely won't use this personally in the woods, but the quiver aspect of it, and then we're going to get into the pocket quiver as well, is what drew my attention, because I do really like a lot of the aspects here. And then with this big pocket here, you could fit a water bottle in there too. I mean, he showed you guys how big this is. So you could fit an Nalgene tucked into the backpack.
I actually have one here. So a lot of people do run the Nalgene right here. So that the Nalgene's fully in there.
Yeah.
And so you can carry
this around. And I was just
thinking
thinking too, I wonder, you could even clip, like if you have a little, what are they called? Carabiners.
Yeah.
And you can clip it in that loop right there 100%. Too, and just have it dangling off the backside 100%. If you don't mind things dangling. But yeah, that's cool. Okay, so the quiver was an afterthought.
Quiver was an afterthought, which is great, because we sell more of these as quivers than we do as hunting packs, to be honest with you. But the inside of the quiver is lined with extra heavy duty material, and it's just wearproof. We've never, I mean, we've sold a lot of these since 2017 or 18 when we launched this. We've never had a single alpha pack come back due to wear and tear of this quiver pocket whatsoever. I mean, you just don't wear it. And you can use super sharp target tips, all that stuff. You're not going to poke holes through this thing whatsoever. So the quiver pocket has this really cool snap feature that has a gap behind the back snap, so you can get your finger behind there and squeeze this heavy duty snap. We use mostly mil spec hardware on our alpha pack. And so this initial quiver, this is like, if you bought this, and we offer it without a belt, because a lot of people have their own service belts or their favorite leather belt they want to use. So we sell it like base model would just be the pack like this. Then you can add a belt on the website, and then you can add some accessories. So this quiver pocket has basically 2 compartments that's separated by the snap. So you can have your arrows tilting backwards away from the target or forwards towards the target. You can wear it however you want. But we also have this feature. It's called the arrow divider. And you're holding one up there as well. So utilizing those snaps on the front and back, the male and female snaps, this thing just pulls, you pop open the alpha pack like this, and then you put this arrow divider in, and then you just snap it right into place. It goes in super simple, as I'm fumbling around trying to do this for you live.
Beat you.
You beat me? Nice. There you go. So now that thing is in there. You have 4 cells, super nice. It can hold, I forget what the numbers are. It's like 8 or 9 166s and like 3 or 4 per cell of like a 23 diameter arrow. But super nice if you're like shooting targets and you want to separate your arrows a little bit into groups of 3, or if you're really good and you're shooting a 3-spot target, just put 1 arrow per cell in here for the line. And then one additional thing that we wanted to add to it is this feature here. And this is an additional adder that you can tack on. This is a broadhead sleeve. So if you're using 2 blade broadheads, it does the exact same thing, has a male and female snap on this, slides right down into this quiver feature nicely, and then snaps in. And then you can run 2 blade broadheads in your quiver if you want to use it for hunting, or if you're out on the range tuning broadheads, you could just shove them in here with no risk of poking holes in your fabric whatsoever. So
sweet,
just really cool. We wanted to basically come up with this completely configurable, customizable quiver design, and I think we achieved it.
Yeah, no, you guys definitely did a good job, and I'm a sucker for OD green and brown.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks really good. Obviously mine's not quite beat up yet, but I'll get there. But yeah, no, this is awesome. And then I highly recommend people pick up a divider as well. Like the two slots is cool, but I don't know. I like to be able to segment out my arrows like that. So
yeah, if you're looking to like carry 12, 15 arrows, like don't run the arrow divider. You like just use the big pouch, and it can just, the capacity is dozens of arrows. Honestly, you can hold in this thing. The quiver pouch is so large. But if, like you said, you're wanting to separate them out, or you're shooting indoor, the arrow divider. Like once I started using the arrow divider when we got them in, like I'm never going back. It's super nice. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Anything else we didn't touch on the Alpha Pack?
I don't think so. 100% made in the USA. Awesome high quality materials, 1,000 denier Cordura material. Yeah, it's great. Just super bomb proof.
Awesome. And then let's see here. Okay. Yeah, I didn't have any other questions on that aspect, but no, yeah, I've really enjoyed running it. It's awesome quiver. And then if you don't want to run the little hip belt right there,
the thigh strap.
Sorry, the thigh strap, you can just cinch it down.
Exactly. So the thigh strap just dangles if you're running it in like the quiver option. I know a lot of people running the quiver, like if they're shooting tack events, they'll use the thigh strap to keep it kind of the swing at a minimum. But honestly, these things are weighted down so much because you're going to put so much gear in here that they just sit pretty steady. It hangs just like a normal quiver. But if you're going to use this in the field, you cinch down this thigh strap and then it follows your thigh. So if you're crawling, if you're, sitting in a tree stand, sneaking in, it just stays completely attached to your hip and it follows your thigh path. And it just becomes a part of you as you're sneaking through the woods.
Awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And you mentioned 2-blade broadheads. You sharpen your own obsidian heads, right?
I don't.
You do trad bow, so you've got to shoot those, right?
I use these bad boys. These are sitting on my desk.
You like the VPAs?
Yeah, I'm a VPA 3-blade guy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, those are good. Those I know they recently either partnered or bought Valkyrie.
Oh, I didn't know that. Cool.
Those look a lot like the Jaegers from
Valkyrie. without like the step down, the change in angle. Yeah.
That's like a spear coming out of your bow. It's ridiculous. But yeah, no, I've got some of their Omegas with the single bevel, but they just added bleeders. So I'm not a big 2-blade. Let's talk about broadheads for a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because it's always a hot topic. And then we'll get into this guy because this guy's
cool.
sweet.
Yeah.
So as a trad guy, you shoot 3-blade broadheads.
Yep, 3-blade broadheads.
You shoot screw ends or glue ends?
Screw ends.
Okay. And then you prefer what? 4mm arrow? 3? Don't they make smaller than 4 for trad bows, or what?
I mean, we run the same arrows that you guys do, right? Compound guys do. So we're running. The whole configuration of them, we're always airing a lot heavier, right? So we're wanting, because we don't have the speed, whether you're a kinetic energy or momentum guy, depending on which side of the fence you're on. I always just like to look at the equation, whether you are a kinetic energy guy, one half mass times velocity squared, or a momentum guy, mass times velocity. The only part variables in those equations that stay constant through the whole life cycle of the arrow flight is the mass. So from a trad archery perspective, like I want to preserve as much momentum or energy as it's going through the animal. I want that exit hole as much as possible. So I'm always running a heavier arrow. So roughly between 600 and 680 grains is usually where I'm landing. I know a lot of trad guys are 500 to 580, 500 to 600. There's really no right or wrong. I think it really comes down to tuning, because like you mentioned earlier, we like close range shots in traditional archery because we're hindered by the accuracy of our equipment. We, as the shooter, become such a big variable there. So a lot of our shots are 15 yards and in. We're setting up right on top of these deer trails. And so we want our arrow to be recovering as fast as possible. So when you're watching like slow-mo video of these arrows in flight, especially like Olympic archery, it looks like a water moccasin going through the water as it's like going through Archer's Paradox. And it does that for like the first 10, 15, 20 yards, and then it corrects itself. That's really bad for traditional bow hunting. Like we want to be able to shoot a bullet hole through paper at 3 feet, 6 feet, 12 feet, like right out of the bow, because we want to get as much downrange penetration as we possibly can at 15 yards. If your arrow is paradoxing as it's striking that deer, it's going to rob so much energy and penetration from the system. So you want that thing to be hitting that target perpendicular with no more paradox going on. And so that's really the big thing. So people talk about FOC, weight of their arrows. Honestly, with a perfectly tuned arrow, I can run out there with a 480 grain arrow shooting out of a 43-pound recurve, and I'll blow through every deer. as long as that arrow is perfectly tuned and it's
Right.
recovering as fast as possible out of the bow.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with that. I feel like a lot of people focus more on mechanical versus fixed, etc. And
Sure, for
obviously,
sure.
with a trad bow, you want as much penetration as possible, and you're going to get more penetration out of a fixed head.
100%.
That's just
Yes,
it takes less force to penetrate, especially if it's sharp.
for sure.
A good head like VPA, Iron Will, those are great solid
Yeah.
heads,
Yep.
for sure. But you know, when people have issues with penetration, if you're not hitting, you know, the ball or the ball of a joint or anything like that, a lot of it has to do with that paradox that you're talking about, or just your poor arrow flight.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're hitting something sideways or even just a little bit off of straight, you're not going to get as much penetration. Doesn't matter if you have mechanical or fixed, how sharp it is or whatnot. You're going to lose a ton of penetration that
For
way.
sure.
And so, you know, whether you're into compound or trad, you want to get that as that paradox out as soon as possible.
For sure.
That's where the spine comes in, and it's spine, not spline. For people out there, I don't know how many times you've heard that, Matt.
Way too many.
But
Way too
yeah,
many.
there's a guy I heard that was like, "I'm going to make a shirt about that." Just
love
piss
that.
a lot of people off. He works at a bow shop. He's like, "I'm going to make a shirt about this."
Yeah.
But yeah, so the spine matters. And then obviously the carbon weave, or if you've got a carbon and aluminum arrow, what is the arrow of choice for you?
So I run Black Eagle, these Black Eagle vintages here. So here's actually an arrow out of my bow quiver. You can see
Okay. Sweet.
it has a bunch of deer material
So is
still
that
in the broadhead.
carbon that looks like wood, or is that
Yeah,
actual wood?
it's carbon that looks like wood.
Okay.
It's kind of like a trad specific arrow.
Yeah.
But I typically don't run these like wood grain looking arrows. I run like day 6. Day 6 is like probably one of my favorite arrows. Victories. I run some victories as well.
Because Victory just came out with a bamboo arrow for the trad.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw they just came out with that. But I mean, the nice thing about those is just heavier, like these more like trad specific arrows, if you will, are like heavier GPI. But like you look at a day 6 arrow, the GPI is perfect. It's a micro diameter arrow. They're bomb proof. So yeah, I'm open. Whatever flies perfect and doesn't break as it's, you know, sticking in the dirt on the other side of the animal.
Well, with your experience in trad, does a 4 mil or a 5 mil arrow tend to work better out of a trad bow?
Honestly, like I don't get caught up with the diameters of the arrow.
Okay.
So to I guess to answer this question a little bit better. So trad bows, you're shooting off the shelf. And so we don't have a ton of center shot to work with. Like a compound, you can move your center shot to be directly in line with the string, just left of string, just right of string, whatever you need to do to get this thing tuned perfectly. We're hindered by the window of the riser because we're shooting off the shelf. Most trad guys are shooting off the shelf. So with all that being said, if you have a bow that's not cut super far past center and your arrow is basically going to be pointing off to the left when it's sitting on the shelf, a skinnier diameter arrow is going to minimize that. So you can get yourself a little bit more in line right off the get-go and give yourself a little bit more spine tolerance, if you will. But honestly, I went down the skinny diameter route for quite a while. I ran day 6, which I still do. Love those. But there's just something about a 5/16 arrow that is like this magic diameter for me. And you got to remember, a lot of trad guys are still using wood arrows, which are like 11/32 in diameter, which are really fat arrows. So it's all about tune. I believe, this is my theory, I don't believe I would be able to measure penetration differences between an animal that's moving at the shot, right? Because it's flinching, it's hearing your bow go off, which is also really important about trad bows being very quiet. You want to really work on getting a good tune because your bow noise goes down. And when you're shooting at a deer at 15 yards, you're close to them, they're going to start moving. And if that deer's moving as that broadhead's entering it, it's going to just rob your penetration. So you want that deer standing flat-footed, have no idea what happened when that arrow strikes them. And so I think that's really what I do. I land on an arrow based off of coming up with a deadly setup. So I want my arrow recovering within feet of clearing my bow, and my bow has to be whisper quiet. In those two combinations, whatever arrow that is, whether it's a skinny diameter, a 5/16 or a fatter arrow, I really don't care.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That makes sense. Awesome. So with that, talking about broadheads, How come you do a 3-blade over a 2-blade?
So I ran 3 blades when I first, well, I take that back. I first started with a 2-blade broadhead. Then I moved to a 3, had a ton of success with 3, went back to single bevel 2-blade. And then the last 3 or 4 years, I've been back to the VPA 3 blades. I just like them a lot, honestly. Like with a 2-blade broadhead without bleeders, the penetration's great. The blood trails are not that great. And it's not the greatest feeling when you put what you know is a perfect shot on a deer and you just can't find any sign of blood, right? It's just such a frustrating moment. And I rarely have that happen when I'm running a 3-blade. So that's kind of why I went to a 3-blade. I do something a little different when I'm aiming. So, there's a bunch of different aiming methods whenever you're talking about traditional bow hunting, whether you're instinctive, where you're coming back to anchor, you're staring at the spot you want to hit. It's very akin to throwing a baseball, and you're relying on your subconscious muscle memory to get the air to set the arrow on its trajectory before you break your shot, and then the shot breaks and it goes there. That takes a lot of repetition, but for a new traditional bow hunter, it's pretty difficult because you might have a biomechanics issue. You might be healing the bow, making you hit high, but you don't know that you're doing that because your subconscious, there's no frame of reference in your sight picture. You're not using your arrow tip. You're just staring at the spot. So it's really hard to troubleshoot form errors when you're new. So I always push people towards like an aiming method. And so I use an aiming method. I'm using the tip of my arrow, and it's basically a single pin sight for me. So I set my sight, and you can use the length of the arrow, the weight of the arrow, where you anchor on your face, all different types of things to change the relationship of the eye to the arrow tip and get it to the point where you can modify your point on distance, which is basically what your single pin sight would be set for. So I like to set my single pin sight for 22 yards. And then anything under 22 yards, I'm just holding the tip of my arrow at the bottom of the chest and basically pin gapping, if you will. But I'm using the tip of the arrow to do that. But what I do with my 3-blade broadhead is this one's actually still really sharp. I just pulled it out. But the back of the broadhead, you can see this one I paint white. So when I align this in my sight picture, this is what it looks like, just like that. And the very tip of the broadhead is 22 yards. So at 22 yards, all I got to do is stick the very tip of my post sight right there on the target and let it eat. Anything under 20 yards, the very top tip of the broadhead is nestled at the bottom of the chest, and I let it eat. A deer vital is 8 inches tall. That's the tolerance. I don't care the difference between 18 yards or 12 yards. I know I'm in those vitals. So in the moment of truth, I don't even have to worry about it. Just draw back, run that thing right up against the bottom of the chest and let it eat. And then halfway up this blade is 25 yards, and at the base of the blade is 30. So basically I have a single pin post sight that I'm just using in relationship to that animal to aim off of. That's kind of how I aim. Yep. And that's why I like these 3-blade broadheads. When I'm shopping for a broadhead, it has to be first and foremost super durable and the ability to get it razor sharp, but also the thickness of the blade itself plays a big role for me personally because I use it for an aiming post sight. I want that blade width to be really wide so I can paint it with a white paint pen on the back. I can see it in low light. Some of these broadheads have really skinny blade thicknesses, and I just lose them when I'm trying to aim at them in low light. So that's one of the big things I look for in a broadhead.
Interrupting the podcast to remind you of another amazing partner of the show, Grizzly Coolers. Grizzly Coolers, guys, they are fantastic. Well, they're more than just coolers. So Grizzly, if you're in the Midwest, East Coast, or even in the West Coast, if you have a place for a place to put a permanent stand, box blind, they have amazing blinds. They have troughs if you're looking to put up water. I don't know the technical name for that. They have so many other things like this cool, amazing hat right here. I love the black camo. And also coolers of all sizes. They have soft-sided coolers, which we've taken up to Alaska, the backpack cooler, which is fantastic. They have your coolers for your day-to-day use. And this right here, honestly, guys, I don't drink coffee or anything like that, but I put my energy drinks and cold drinks in this thing right here. It is fantastic. Look, slide, super smooth, and it is magnet. So super easy to clean right there. There we go. Got it to focus. All right. Now, guys, go check it out. They have amazing single-walled cups. They have the double-line cups. They have tumblers if you're into the big tumblers. They have the gallon size monster jug if you're looking to get a gallon in a day of your water. So all of that, guys, you can go and check out Grizzly with code RedBeard10. Save you some money, support the show, support amazing partners. USA made coolers. Fantastic. I trust my game meat. I trust my family's camping trips with them. And they're made for box step-ups too, guys. If you need a box step-up, go grab one. Check out Grizzly Coolers and Grizzly Drinkware and Grizzly Everything. Go check it out, guys, with code RedBeard10. The link down below. Thank you so much for the support. Now let's get back to the podcast. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I would have never thought, how long did it take you to come up with that aiming method?
I mean, this is nothing new. It's nothing I created.
Okay.
Gap shooting is what that's called. String walking is what competitive archers do. And then me personally, I kind of blend both of those together, the string walking and the gap shooting, into this fixed crawl method, that I have a brass knocking point down my string. And that's where I set my hand on my string. So I'm actually like slightly below where the knock of the arrow is, but the knock of the arrow is right underneath my eye as I'm aiming at full draw. And I can set that brass knock point down my string. That's like a single pin slider. So if I move the brass knocking point further away from the arrow knock down the string, and I'm anchoring at the same spot, that's putting the arrow closer and closer to my eye, which would mean I'm gun barreling that arrow shaft, which means the shot is closer. So if I wanted to shoot a 10-yard shot, I would be 2 inches down below the knock of the arrow. And I just stick the tip of my arrow right where I want it to go and shoot. But if I'm shooting a 30-yard shot, I would be up here, back down to my anchor. Now that arrow is down here. So I'm adjusting the launch angle of the arrow based on where I'm grabbing on the string below the knock. And so that would be akin to a single pin slider compound sight.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. No, that makes sense. Awesome. That's a lot of good information there.
Yeah.
And where, like, all of this information you've put out on YouTube?
Yeah, that's right. So all this aiming stuff, specifically like that 2-hour long very first video, if somebody's interested in what I'm talking about, I go in through excruciating detail on how to become or go all through all the different aiming methods that you can use for shooting traditional archery. And that is like, just go to our YouTube channel, The Push Archery, and scroll all the way to the bottom. Like I said, we have over 300 videos. It's the very first one we launched, and it goes soup to nuts through the entire process of how to get deadly accurate with a recurve.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. And you said The Push Archery. Just
that's
look
right.
up
That's
The Push
it.
Archery.
Yeah, you can find us everywhere: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, our podcast. Everything's under The Push Archery. Pretty simple to find us.
Yeah, and I'll leave the link down below for that, guys, so
Awesome.
You can go and check that out. Let's get into the pocket quiver here.
Cool.
So I did a little video on this one because I was really stoked on it, and it's just something that sometimes you don't necessarily want to take an entire quiver to the range. Sometimes maybe you just shoot in your garage and you want to have your arrows on your body instead of laying on the ground or on a table or something like that. I mean, this has so many uses, but this pocket quiver here, the Delta, I want to start off with the top because I did mess up when I talked about it. I messed up in the sense of you had a different idea when you created this. We're going to talk about the creator, the creator's idea of what this is. Sure. I said it was for guiding your arrows because, sticking it here, I guess that guides it too, but kind of whatever. But what is this top piece here for?
Yeah. So back pocket quivers are very popular in the traditional space. They're not very popular or well known in the compound space. But back pocket quivers in the trad space are typically just thick stock pieces of leather, really similar to our broadhead sleeve, that are cut out in the shape of your pocket. And then up on the top, it has a big belt loop that you basically unbuckle your belt, slide it out, slide this thing on your belt, and then you shove it down in your back pocket. But also this thick stock leather, there's no give to the arrows. So your arrows are like super stiff, straight up and down. And so when they're in your back pocket, they're like completely vertical. And as you're walking, it's like hitting my back. It hits your back as you're walking around, and I hate that. So what I wanted to do is design something. I looked at all the pain points of what a back pocket quiver is. And you're exactly right. This is for the guys that are just always out in their driveway or always out in their backyard and just are like, oh, I don't want to throw on a big heavy quiver option or whatnot. They're just going out to shoot 30, 40, 50 arrows.
Sticking their arrows in the ground.
Sticking their arrows in the ground or in their front pocket, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people do this all the time. So this is the Delta back pocket quiver. We just launched this thing a few months back, and it's just really cool. So what we wanted to do was come up with a design that is super efficient for somebody running out and getting 10, 15, 20 arrows in their backyard, not having to take your belt off. So what you do is, what we designed is, there's 2 heavy duty magnets. You can see how much I struggled to open that up.
He's not weak, guys. He's a strong magnet.
These 2 magnets are 2 giant rare earth magnets, and you can hear this thing snap whenever it comes back together. So what you do to deploy this thing is you open this up and you just shove this pocket shaped part down into your back pocket, and then you just let it go and it'll grab it. So this magnet is actually pinching the jeans material of your pocket in between it, and it holds it in the vertical position, and you can't get it out of your pocket this way. Now, to prevent you from having to take your belt off, we did not put a belt loop at the top of our back pocket quiver. We put this spongy material sewn into the top, and what you basically do is throw this into your back pocket, and then you slide this between your belt and your jeans. It slides right up through your belt like that. And then that spongy part is above the leather belt, and it keeps it from falling down in between, and it keeps it in a nice big package. Now, I had this grand idea. I'm like, oh, this is the belt stopper feature. People are going to love it. They're going to always tuck it up under their belt. Then when we launched it, everyone's jeans are different, and some people's jeans have a belt loop right here where this is, right? So we started seeing like a few issues with that. But then people, even if they don't have a belt loop in the span of where this is supposed to go up between the belt, they don't like running it. That's even too much effort to slide that up through the belt. So I don't even talk about the belt stopper feature when I'm sales pitching this thing, because nobody uses it. Nobody shoves it up through their belt. The only time you would actually do that is if you're going out for a day on the range and you're going to use this on a 3D course, which a lot of people do. It's perfectly fine and suitable for a day on the 3D range, and they just want it to be a little bit more stable. But that rare earth magnet, this grabbing of that magnet, once it's in your pocket, it ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's holding steady. So that's that feature on this back panel. Slides down in your back pocket quiver. Your arrows go down in between. And the nice thing is your arrows can pitch left and right in this. So So if it's in your back pocket, you can just pitch them to the left, and they kind of hang out away from your body a little bit, but they stay within your body frame like this. So now as you're walking between trees or doorways, you're not hitting your arrows off of anything whatsoever. I'll talk about the magnet here in a second, but we have like a scorecard pouch. We have some molly webbing here. You can attach like a carabiner, your keys, whatever.
Keep saying like all these fancy things you can put in here. I just keep thinking snacks.
Like, yeah,
there's so many
more
pockets. Every
more
packet,
snacks,
every pocket.
more protein. And then this pocket is even bigger for more snacks. It's about the size of a softball, right? For people listening here and not watching, but you could shove a softball in there. In reality,
though, like a good set of Allens. Everyone's got that Allen set.
Good Allen set.
And then some field tip heads in case you hit rebar, which sucks. Yep. Everyone does it. It's the worst.
You got it. Now,
and then maybe even a Leatherman,
a Leatherman. Yeah, exactly. People just throw tools in here. Now, the really cool thing about this was a happy accident, is we designed the magnet, this rare earth magnet, to hold it into your pocket, give you that nice, satisfying snap feeling as you're deploying this thing. But if you're using steel tips, the magnet actually grabs the tips of the arrow and it won't come out. Right?
I didn't think about that. That's cool.
So your arrow, when you slide it down, and it's really cool, you could probably even hear this because I'm running like actual steel tips. As I drop this thing down, listen to this thing grab it. You hear that thing go whoop. That's the arrow tip getting close to the magnet, and it just sucks it down and grabs it. Now I can put 5-6 arrows in here and flip it over, and that magnet is strong enough. It holds and grabs all those tips. If you're using super high quality stainless steel tips, the magnet won't grab the tips, but you don't need it. It was just a happy accident. It's just a sales pitch feature, honestly, with
Yeah,
the
so you
magnets
can you
grabbing it.
can you can do cartwheels celebrating your win.
You absolutely can do cartwheels. Honestly, what I like to do is I load this thing up with 6 arrows and I turn it upside down and I open the magnet and I hook it on my shirt or my hoodie, and then just grab it. And now I'm walking around with my arrows upside down. I'm like, can your quiver do that? Or another cool thing is this magnet is also so strong on the outside that when I'm out shooting and I am wearing gym shorts and I don't want to deploy this, I just literally throw it against the door of my truck.
Mm.
And it just holds it against my truck. It
I
just
was gonna
sits there.
say, like you're saying jeans pockets and stuff, like people wear pants all the time. I'm a big gym shorts guy. My wife hates it, but
Yep.
like my kids literally say, they're like, Dad, we know you're going somewhere fancy when you put pants on. Like,
I love it. I love it.
they're like, oh, this is a fancy date with
Yep.
you and Mom because you have pants on. But it's kind of become a joke. But you can actually, and I've done this, you can actually use this on your gym shorts,
Yep.
just like you do a back pocket.
That's
clip
right.
that on
So
your gym shorts.
let's talk about that, because a lot of guys are actually starting to do that because they don't want to take their wallet or their can of chew out of their back pocket. So what they're doing is they're actually just opening this magnet up, taking the quiver section and shoving it down through the top of their pants. So now it's sitting between their underwear and their jeans or their gym shorts, and then closing it in. So I'm wearing gym shorts right now, and if I went outside to shoot, I would run this right through the top waistband of my gym shorts.
You can even use this on your front pocket on your gym shorts as well. If your gym shorts
you can put this and in your jeans. So I know like Joel Turner's a big proponent. He runs this thing. He loves it. And when he's on the shooting line for a competition for indoor, he runs this Delta and he puts it in his front pocket of his jeans. And so it kind of keeps it like angling backwards like this. And then another big thing is these technical pants are super popular right now. Sitka, QU pants, First Light, and all of them have like a zipper pouch on the thigh, like a cargo pocket. Everyone, I can't even tell you how many 3D shoots I go to. And if I see a Delta being deployed, it is always down in the cargo pocket of the jeans. Like people are just running it down on their thigh, and that's how they're using it. So yeah, all that to say, it is extremely versatile. You can stick this thing, and the magnet it was a happy accident that turned out to be a super novel idea, and it's working. Like you can use it in any application. It's such a cool little quiver.
No, that is awesome. That's really cool. Well, sweet. I don't really have any questions on it except for you answered my question about this thing.
Yeah. I saw your video. I'm like, that actually goes up between your belt, but it was like nobody uses it that way anyhow, so it doesn't really matter. It's such a cool design. I was so proud of that design, but nobody uses it.
Yeah. You got dummies like me out here. This is what I think it does.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, it is a good indexing point though, too.
Yeah, for sure.
In my defense,
it is. You're exactly right.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I really like these quivers, and that runs. What's the price on that one?
The Delta is $98. Yep, we wanted to keep it right under that $100 mark. The Alpha Pack base model without a belt is $140. Add a belt, it's $175. And then you start adding the accessories like the arrow divider and the 2-blade broadhead sleeve and all that stuff. It just kind of you can customize it and like make your perfect quiver.
Sweet. No, I love it. That's really cool. Yeah, so that's I'm actually probably going to give, because my wife, she's going to hate me saying this on the podcast, but I'm going to say it anyway. She finally agreed to shoot, and I don't think she realizes, and this is going to come out after this weekend, but I don't think she realizes what she signed up for. She thought we were just shooting at Wild Arrow at their 20-yard range with all the big foam at the back wall, I don't think she realizes we're going out and shooting foam animals at various distances.
Heck
so
yeah.
I didn't want to burst her bubble, because she actually went into Wild Arrow, and they're letting us borrow a bow, and we got her all set up, and I've cut down some of my older arrows that are lighter so that she can, have some arrows to shoot that aren't just out of the junk bin. And so, yeah, I'll probably throw this in her back pocket, because that bow doesn't have a quiver on it. So
yeah, heck yeah.
That'll probably work for her this
100%.
weekend. But anyway, sweet. Is there anything we haven't touched on those two items?
I don't think so, man. Nope.
Cool. And a lot of my listeners aren't trad archers, I imagine. And so you do have another pack, a bigger hunting pack as well.
We do.
And so if you're interested in something more, I call it the side satchel.
Yeah.
The mail bag, the mailman bag is
The
what it looks
mailman
like.
bag. That's
yeah,
right.
that's
Yeah.
really what it
Yeah.
looks like. So
It's basically an alpha pack that's 2
Mhm.
times the size. It's in a more visually appealing shape, like what you would want on a side man messenger
Mhm.
bag style. But then it has like the quiver option with the same construction. It's just an alpha pack that goes over like an over crossbody sling, and it also still has the thigh strap. So it's just really unique looking to where you have this really big padded strap that comes down across your chest onto your offside, and then you strap it to your leg, and it's a really cool design. We currently are out of inventory on that, but by I would say end of May we will
Mhm.
have full stock of those, and we call those the Ridge Runners. That's that model.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you like the alpha, but you want something a little bit bigger for hunting, definitely go check
Yep.
that out.
Or like a tack event, something you're going to be out
Yeah,
there all
yeah,
day.
or something,
That
yeah,
type of thing.
like a
Yep.
tech event. That's a good idea as well.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I really have enjoyed these quivers up to this point, and I'm going to continue using them throughout the
Awesome.
year. And so I love that, again, it's USA made, sewn, everything here. You don't have a sticker on it though, so what's up with that?
Like
The
a
little,
USA
not
made sticker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But my manufacturer actually asked me if I wanted to have it sewn in there, and
Yeah.
these are just so clean looking,
Yeah.
you know, and like sexy looking. I just didn't want to. Maybe it's just the label they have that I didn't like, but I just didn't want to put them on there.
Okay. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was a feature
Yeah.
until you brought it up just now. So
Yeah.
that's really cool. I think that's it. Those are the 2 colorways. You've got the brown and then the green and brown.
And multicam as well in the alpha pack.
Oh, you do have
at multicam and alpha, and then we're coming out with some new colors here real shortly.
Sweet.
So yeah,
Black, right?
we used to have black. Actually, check this out.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
You like that one? So we have black in everything. We actually ran black alpha packs for the longest time, but the volumes just weren't there. We would sell 10 green, 10 coyote for every like 1 black we would sell, and it just got to the point where I'm like, just not carrying it. We do get requests for black.
You know what it needs? It needs some orange stitching.
There you go. You black and orange looks good,
black
right?
And orange.
Yeah.
That's not really my colors, if you can tell. You know.
There you go. my beard and my clothes.
Exactly.
I love it.
No, that's cool. That's cool. So yeah, guys, definitely go. I'd say go and check this out. If anything, grab the pocket quiver if you already have a hip quiver that you're comfortable with. Don't stick your arrows in the dirt. There's plenty of options out there. This quiver will solve that issue for you.
100%.
And again, it's super quick. You can toss it in the seat of your truck. You can leave it in your truck and clip it to the back of your seat in your truck, and it'll hold a couple arrows for you right there. There's a lot of options for you to do that. So really cool. And then I guess, Matt, is there anything else that you want people to know about you and your company that we haven't hit on today?
No, not at all. Like I said, we are all about instruction. Our mission statement at the Push Archery is helping expedite the traditional archery learning curve, and that's something that we've held steadfast since 2016. YouTube, podcasts, our online school, and then our awesome products. We have a bunch of other products on our website that are above and beyond just quivers and everything. And you can find that at thepusharchery.com. It serves as a portal to the online school. You can find our podcasts on there and our YouTube channel. It's just all there, all the Push Archery. So I really appreciate you having me on today, man.
Sweet. Yeah, no, I appreciate you taking the time and hopping on here to talk to people. Again, I would nerd out with you about trad archery, but I'm not quite there yet.
Sure. Hey,
so,
when you're ready, you know where to come.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm here
Eventually
for you,
I'll get there. Well, sweet. Well, appreciate it, guys. Look, we've got a compound archer and a trad archer on the same podcast. We didn't throw blows, even though we're not in person.
That's
you know, and we talked about broadheads. We talked about everything controversial. Now we just got to talk about politics and religion. No,
there you go.
We're not going to get but in all reality, guys, go and check out the Push Archery. I'm going to leave the links down below where you can find his YouTube and go pick up one of these Delta quivers or the Alpha Pack. Highly recommend it. And go grab the green one. The green one's the best.
You like the green? Yeah, the
it
green's
really
pretty
is.
good. That Ranger green's good. Nice. Yeah.
For you're gonna see me on St. Patty's Day. I've got some plans
for
that. You know, my kids always call me the leprechaun. They catch me.
I love it.
Every St. Patty's Day. But yeah, no, for real, guys. Go check it out. I'll leave the links down below. Appreciate your time today, Matt. And like I always say, guys, get out, live your life, and love it.
Amen.
Hope you enjoyed that conversation with Matt. Really enjoyed learning from him, learning more about this back pocket Delta quiver, back pocket, Jim Shorts pocket, hip, whatever you want, however you want to use this quiver is fantastic. Absolutely love this little minimalist quiver. Go check out what he has to offer on his website. I'll leave that link down below. And just want to remind you guys of the giveaway that I'm doing once we hit 6,000 subscribers of the LEUPOLD brand new Gen 2 spotting scope, 65mm spotter that I want to get in your hands before tack even, but at least before hunting season. So subscribe to the channel. No purchase necessary to get entered in on that giveaway. Go check that one out in the description down below, along with, of course, BlackOvis. We're giving away 6 gift cards at the end of March for anyone that's purchased using code RedBeard throughout this month. You're going to be entered in to win. And then last but not least, go over to Ollin, get your Ollin Digiscoping, whether it's the Nexus system, the adapter for your binos, your spotter, etc. Every $5 spent gets you an entry in to win a hunt in Hawaii. Go hunt axis deer with the Ollin crew. And they're awesome individuals, guys. Absolutely love that crew. So all of that to be said, have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend, spend time with your loved ones, and now that the weather's warming up, get out and enjoy some archery, guys. Get some reps in. If you're not already getting reps in the garage like me, get out, stretch it out there, test your sight tips, get ready for Total Archery Challenge. Let's get after it. Have a great day.